Hello Whiskey Mavericks, welcome to Whiskey Whistle. I'm your host Mark with Whiskey Review number 84. Last time I think I said it was Whiskey Review 82, actually it was 83 the last one. This however is Whiskey Review 84. Today we're looking at a very special whiskey from the Edradour Whisky Distillery, the Edradour Distillery in Scotland, in the Highland region, and it is known as Ballechin. So Ballechin, this is the 8th release. We'll talk about that in a little bit. It is fully matured in Sauternes casks. It's 46% ABV, and it's also unchill filtered and natural color. So it's got all the bells and whistles that we like. It's a fairly limited release. 9,000 bottles, yes. 9,000 bottles, 5,100 bottles of 70 CL or 700 milliliters, and 900 bottles of 750, of which this is one. Maybe I should have left it unopened, but curiosity always killed the cat, and so there it got opened. All right, so let's get that poured first of all. Ballechin, 8th release, Sauternes matured. Let's get it poured. There we go. That's a healthy 30 plus milliliters. Get the cork back on there. Fairly modest packaging. Nice can with a cardboard tube and pretty understated label. Actually, it's a little bit hard to see, so hopefully that turns out fairly well on the iPad there. Let's carry on, shall we? We're going to let that sit just for a little bit, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the Edradour Distillery. Now, maybe I should have waited until I could do the Edradour 10-year-old, which you'll see rolling through on the screen there. However, that's going to be for a while, and the bottle is running out here, so I figured better get it done. All right, so the Edradour Distillery, it's located in Pitlochry in Perthshire. It is formerly the smallest distillery in Scotland. However, that crown, if there is a crown for smallest distillery, has shifted to yet another distillery, a newer one. And it's owned by Andrew Symington, formerly owned by Signatory Vintage Scotch Whisky Company, which in turn is owned by Andrew Symington. He's a master of the quake. They protect the whiskey industry in Scotland. And it was founded in 1825, although it had a history prior to that as an illicit distiller. They fill about 18 casks a week, I think roughly 90,000 liters of pure alcohol per year. And history-wise, it looks as though distilling was going on in that area as early as 1494. There are records from the ruins of the Lindores Abbey. There's record of the sale of malt to be made into aquavite. Aquavite, also known as whiskey, which became known as whiskey. So the word whiskey actually comes from the meaning of water of life. So that's interesting. All right, so 1494, fast forward 1823, the Excise Act was enacted, encouraging the licensing of illicit distilleries. And so, in turn, 1825, the distillery was founded. It survived all that time, perhaps because of its small size, and was able to keep running despite slow times in the industry. Okay. Now, interesting things. It was once owned by a New York mafia associate. It's a fruit fly flying around. I guess they like peated whiskey too. And it was also owned by one of the large companies, Pernod Ricard, for a period of time. And then finally, 2002 was when the Signatory Vintage Scotch Whisky Company purchased that from Pernod Ricard. I think for a fairly reasonable price, all considered. Okay, so that's pretty much the history. Now, Ballechin, they began making in 2004, and they were releasing a special release year by year, which was known as a Discovery Series. Okay, so the Discovery Series, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. That's the 8th. There was no 9th. They went right to the 10-year-old after that. There's my dog barking. Quiet, Rocky. Okay, sorry about splicing that. My daughter came out to get some crayons to do a little bit of coloring. Okay, so 2014, Ballechin from Edradour, they released a 10-year-old. So that will be their regular offering going forward. And all right, so I think that's probably seen enough time in the glass. Let's give it a whiff, give it a taste, and talk about the aftertaste as well. Okay? So first of all, the nose. Now before that, there will be a very short advertisement right there. Okay, welcome back. On to the nose. Ballechin 8th release, matured in Sauternes casks. Well, it's heavily peated, that's for sure. It's apparently peated to about 50 ppm if you're into peat talk. That's the phenol count. But however, it is also quite fruity. There's a dryness to it. There is a sort of a floral, herbal peat style, which is quite typical of the Highland region. And let's see what I wrote down here. First of all, the color. Look at that. It is a nice copper shade, isn't it? Quite beautiful. Now, if you hear a little bit of background noise, it's just my daughter, my first daughter, talking to my youngest daughter. I have 3. Okay. Okay, back to the nose. Sorry about all the cuts. So Sauternes, it's a white wine. There's a little bit of that wininess to it, but kind of like the smell of an empty glass of white wine. It's very aromatic peat, very fragrant, very floral. And there's also some cinnamon and apples going on there. A baked apple. And of course, you know, bonfire. The smell of a fire once you've already finished cooking and the embers are still burning hours after when you go to sleep at your campsite. Okay. All right, let's get on to the taste. Cheers, everybody. Very sweet, very smoky. So it opens up very sweet. The sweetness stays, it develops a little bit dry, not too much. Really like this one. Open fires. Big sweetness, I write. It's juicy. There's honey in there. The wood smoke, it's kind of like a mesquite smoke. So again, a very fragrant, sort of a smoky smell and flavor, I should say. And I wrote here, perfect wood. And what I mean by that is, the casking that they've chosen for this is immaculate. Hands down beautiful. Okay, let's try that one more time. Juicy, just a hint of that dryness, a little bit of sourness coming through towards the end. I suppose in part due to the wine cask. And a little bit of astringency. The finish, it is sweet and fruity, bit of smoky, wood fire, some mint, a bit of sour apple, a bit of soured apple, and it's also quite long. Very, very nice. Okay, we'll try that with water now. Oh, now I've got one that I poured a while ago. This is my second attempt at this review. That's the new one, that's the old one. Any difference? Well, the peat mellows, and it's much more juicy, a little more vanilla and caramel coming through now. Definitely worthwhile to maybe pour one glass, let it sit, pour a second glass, and then try them together. You can have fun with that. We'll leave that aside. Okay, with water now. I'm going to put in 1 and a little bit. As far as my research goes, it seems as though this one can take a little bit of water. Let that mix up a little bit. Now this might be a little bit hard to find where you are. I know it's available in Canada, in Winnipeg. It's on the shelves. I intend to get one when I do go home at some point in the very near future. Seems to be unavailable here in Korea, as is Ballechin. In the US, of course, both are readily available. The US being the largest market by volume for the Scotch whisky industry. And surely in Europe, this will be fairly readily available as well. Price-wise, the 10-year-old seems to be maybe just slightly more expensive than most other 10-year-old whiskeys. However, you know, given the fact that the production is fairly limited, it's fairly small scale, we can understand that. I can understand that. Hopefully you do too. Okay, so with water, let's check out that nose. There'll be one more short advertisement right here. Okay, let's check out the nose now. Much sweeter. Still very floral. Still got the wine, that Sauterne wine sort of a flavor coming through on the nose. Maybe a hint of caramel and a little bit of vanilla peeking through here now. Very nice. What did I write here for my notes? I wrote, oh, well, when you get your nose quite in there, there's a little bit of eucalyptus going on. Slightly antiseptic. And something akin to new sneakers. You know, like Converse Cons. And it's all, you know, held together with a good dollop of sweetness. I wrote here, sweet, what did I write there? What does that say? Oh, Mark. Sweet stage? Gonna pass on that one. There's smoke in there. You know, the bonfire smoke carries through. Less so though, and some licorice as well. Okay, we'll taste it now. Cheers all. So sweet. Hint of sourness just to balance. Honey and fruit. Fruit jam. So very jammy. Cinnamon and ginger snaps. Hint of smoke is still there. Apples with lemon juice. And it gets a bit dry. Try one more time. Hmm. Apples, yep. Lime juice, yes. Lemon juice. Hint of smoke. Cinnamon and ginger. Lots of ginger there. And very honeyed. Okay, we'll go on to the finish. Let's try that one more time, just for good measure. Okay. Wood fire smoke. Post bonfire clothes. So the smell that's left on your clothes after a bonfire. Empty wine and beer bottles. I mean, it's a, you know, it's in your mouth, but that's kind of like the sense I'm getting. That's what it seems to be similar to. Licorice. Licorice is well apparent here in the finish. And still some ripe apples as well as soured apples coming through in the finish. And, you know, kind of like, you know, you've cut the apples and you've left them out and they get a little bit rusted, a little bit browned. That's the sort of aftertaste I've got going on here. And lengthwise, quite long. So, let's get on to the scoring. The WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Edradour's Ballechin 8th release, the Sauternes matured. Oh, I forgot to mention the age. I guess this is roughly about 8 years old, just so that you're aware. All right, so first of all, I'm going to call this the Executioner. This one absolutely will kill you. I love this whiskey. It's one of my favorite peated whiskeys, and I'm giving it 91 out of 100. I'm calling, well, what I've written here is flawless execution, great word, great wood, all natural from start to finish. The presentation, no color added. It's beautiful. And lastly, I wrote here, me likey. Okay, so the WhiskyWhistle whiskey score for Edradour's Ballechin 8th release is 91 out of 100. Now, if you've tuned in till now, thank you so much for that. And sorry if you hear the baby crying in the background. I will have to run. Why not subscribe? You can click the link right down there. Like this video and tune in next time. Stay tuned for lots more to come. Thank you so much and goodbye.